Yo, what's up YouTube? Welcome to the YourSupplyHub.com YouTube channel. I am back again with another PPE safety training video. Today we are going to cover the topic on what recommendations do not work when combating COVID-19. But before we get started, I want to ask you one question to grab your attention. Would you consider pulling out? Practicing safe sex? If the answer is no, then you need to watch the rest of this video.
What's going to save us is infection control at the top of mind. And what the first and foremost thing for any respiratory pathogen as easily transmissible as COVID-19 is protecting our noses and our mouths from droplet transmission. It just turns out normal speak in a restaurant that can spray an entire restaurant full of diners very easily in 10 minutes. If somebody's infected with COVID-19, doesn't know it, and they're just talking without a cover, they can infect an entire room. So that's why this is so important, and we need to compel it, not just suggest it.
The CDC released new guidelines this week for going back to the office. Those guidelines include wearing a mask, but also no handshakes, temperature checks. These guidelines are also similar for going back to school. If we are living with this pandemic long term, if it does in fact become an endemic, what do we need to be thinking about beyond these guidelines as we try to go back to work and go back to school?
Well, I think this is a good start. If everybody in the workplace can adopt those measures, wow, we're off to the races. And I think that's going to do a lot to tamp down transmission, because we know most people are transmitting this disease without even knowing they have COVID-19. So that's a win right there. That if everybody adopts that, fantastic. That's step one. And then step two there then is this hope that we're going to have a vaccine, or we're going to have natural herd immunity set in, because nothing we do is going to be perfect. And that hopefully we have either built-in immunity, because we're all getting exposed to it to some degree, and or we have a vaccine in the pipeline sometime in 2021. To your question, listen, no, I don't think anybody has a true answer to that question.
This video will help you understand why practicing social distancing indoors is not an effective preventive safe measure for combating COVID-19. It will also explain why wearing cloth face masks do not protect the person wearing them from contracting COVID-19. The scientific facts and evidence are overwhelming. The infection rate in the United States is 10x that of any other country in the world.
Mask will not necessarily protect them 100%, because if they don't apply other measures, it's not sufficient. So my message is more that mask alone is not enough. It's a package of measures that you have to put in place. And if people use the entire package, it's fine. If they just use mask, I think it's not enough.
19th at 6 a.m. The United States has reported 1.5 million cases of COVID-19. If you took Russia, Brazil, the United Kingdom, Spain, Italy, South Korea, Switzerland, Sweden, and France combined, they only have 1.49 million infected people. These countries have larger populations, higher populated areas, and combined, these other countries have tested over 15 million people, versus the United States, who only tested 11 million people. And more people have died in the United States from COVID-19 than the top 10 infected countries combined. People in America need to realize that the guidelines and recommendations given to the general public are not working, and to safely reopen this country, we need to stick to the science and the facts behind safety. With that being said, let's get started. These are some of the questions you may ask yourself. How to reopen your business safely? What guidelines should you follow? Is there a good strategy for sanitizing and disinfecting my business? Are there rules I should set in place to keep my customers safe? Should I make my customers wear face masks? These are all questions we are about to answer. This is a step-by-step guide for all business owners. This guide will be your go-to playbook on how to reopen your business safely, how to keep your employees safe, and how to ensure your customers feel safe when entering your building. Number 1. Education. This is, by far, an essential part of this process. Your staff needs to be fully educated on how contacting this virus works, and they need to be fully educated on safety. For example, what types of face masks offer what levels of protection, how often you should wash your hands and use hand sanitizer, what areas of your business should be cleaned hourly, and when dealing with customers face-to-face, what precautions employees should take to ensure that if an infected customer enters your building, they can remain safe. Once they are trained, they will understand how to reduce the spread of COVID-19. They will fully understand how to minimize their odds of getting infected by 95%, and they will fully understand that most of the previous recommendations given by other agencies do not work. For example, social distancing. To say social distancing indoors isn't an effective safety measure would be like saying pulling out is an effective safety measure for not contracting an STD or preventing an unwanted pregnancy. It may work for a short period of time, but the odds are definitely not in your favor. Until recently, USA scientists believed that the COVID-19 virus was only spread through coughing. A new study shows that once a person becomes infected, all a person has to do is simply breathe, and they release microscopic viral load aerosol droplets into the air. These droplets can remain floating in the air for up to 3 hours. This leads us to the conclusion that social distancing indoors will be relatively ineffective. Now I'm sure you will question this because you watched a 30-second news clip that told you otherwise. Let me just ask you these questions. Has the media ever misinformed you? Has the press been wrong about anything since this pandemic started? Remember, this is the same media that told us we all were at low risk for contracting this virus. This is the same media that told us we did not need to wear face masks. And this is now the same media that tells us to wear cloth face masks. If you go onto the CDC's website and review filtered test reports, you can see that cloth face masks only filter 1% to 50% of airborne pathogens. The CDC even tells us on their website, they do not know if a cloth face mask offers any protection to the person wearing the mask. I just made a very detailed video about surgical face masks and published it on our YouTube channel. If you would like to learn more information about face mask filters and protection levels, click the link below in the description. The filters used in cloth face masks and surgical face masks are not designed to prevent COVID-19 infection. The size of the COVID-19 virus is so tiny that the types of fabric used to make cloth face masks will not effectively filter viral particles smaller than 0.09 The size of the COVID-19 virus is estimated to be between 0.02 to 0.04 meaning that COVID-19 viral pathogens are 5 times smaller than influenza pathogens. Surgical face masks and cloth face masks are designed to prevent viral infections when the size of the viral pathogen is larger than 0.09 For example, viral infections like influenzas and H1N1 have much larger viral pathogen. This is why surgical and cloth face masks have been so effective in combating other viral outbreaks, but they have shown to make very little impact when combating COVID-19 because of the size of the COVID-19 viral pathogen. It is not physically possible for a cloth or surgical face mask to filter out this virus. These are facts, and the facts tell us surgical face masks and cloth face masks do not prevent a person from getting infected if that person gets exposed to the COVID-19 virus. The only face masks you should wear to protect yourself from contracting COVID-19 are KN95 face masks made by an FDA-approved manufacturer like CM brand, or NIOSH-certified N95 face mask like 3M brand. Please keep in mind that over 95% of face masks sold in the United States are counterfeit. I bought 20 KN95 face masks from different sellers on eBay, and not one of them was legit. Every single one was counterfeit. My dad got infected 45 days ago. He then infected my mom 7 days later. By the grace of God, they both managed to survive this infection. I just found out yesterday that, according to the CDC's website, the NIOSH N95 face mask he was wearing was a counterfeit. This was most likely the reason why my dad got infected. The next item on the list of recommendations that will not work is temperature checkpoints. Temperature checkpoints are rarely effective. The only time they will detect if a person is infected is when that person has a fever. Out of the 21-day infection cycle, a person typically only has a temperature for 5 to 7 days. This means for 14 out of 21 days, a person can be infected, transmitting this virus, without showing any signs of having a fever. Also, by the time a person does start to spike a fever, that person begins to get so sick, they do not want to leave their home. You can even read on the CDC's recommendation that temperature checkpoints have shown to have a minimal positive impact. If you are hell-bent on implement a temperature checkpoint, I would highly suggest getting the tablet kiosks we sell. They are the size of a large cell phone. About 8 to 9 inches tall by 4 inches wide. They have face recognition software. They can grant or restrict access to doors automatically, and they log and record reading for each individual customer. You could even have the software automatically check in a guest if you wanted. Check out the video, click here. This would be the only way I would check the temperature of customers. This device will pay for itself within 30 days. Putting an employee at your door checking temps puts the employee at high risk, it puts your customer at high risk, and you have to pay that employee's hourly wages. This machine is a no-brainer. Last but not least, customer questionnaires. What a joke. Like the customers will be 100% honest. I highly doubt it. This would just waste time, keep infected people in your building longer, and force the customer to speak face-to-face with employees for a more extended period of time. This would require the customer to share clipboards, pens, and other items where cross-contamination would likely take place. This would result in your customers getting frustrated and upset. This is absolutely a horrible idea, but there are some questions you could add to help yourself if a government agency requires this. The best way to go about this would be: Number 1, make sure it gets done digitally, and the customer completes any questionnaires from home before the day of their appointment. Number 2, if the questionnaire has not been completed within 24 hours of the person's appointment, then automatically cancel the appointment. And number 3, I would keep the questions short, simple, and make them in yes or no format. For example, do you wear a face mask when going out in public? Yes. Do you wear gloves when going out in public? Yes. Do you wear a protection when going out in public? Yes. Have you been to a hospital or doctor's office in the last 14 days? No. Have you been sick in the previous 14 days? No. Have you been around anyone who tested positive for COVID-19 in the last 14 days? No. Have you had a fever over 99 degrees in the last 14 days? No. Have you felt sick at all in the last 72 hours? No. If we made you wear a face mask, gloves, and safety glasses to enter our building, would you follow our rules? Yes. If we asked you to leave our building if you took your face mask off, would you do so respectfully? Yes. Do you understand that wearing the proper PPE reduces your odds of getting infected by 95%? Yes. Do you know that wearing the appropriate PPE reduces the spread of this virus by 95%? Yes. Another great question you could ask that would allow the customer can add additional information would be something like this: when it comes to PPE safety, the facts are overwhelming, and the scientific evidence is undisputable. If you are not willing to follow our rules, would you please explain why so we can better understand your situation? For example, you may have breathing issues that prevent you from wearing a face mask. We want to make sure we accommodate everyone's needs if possible. Keeping our employees safe and our customers protected is our number 1 priority. Please understand that we did not implement these rules to offend anyone. With the uncertainty of this virus, to ensure everyone's safety, we must require everyone who enters this building to wear the proper. We made these guidelines based on scientific facts behind getting infected with COVID-19. There is no political agenda here. These are not personal opinions, these are just the simple rules created to ensure everyone's safety. Training videos for that topic. I also wanted to take this opportunity to say thank you to the brave men and women working on the front lines, the brave men and women working at the United States Postal Service, UPS, FedEx, and DHL, and all of the essential workers out there playing their part to keep this country up and running. You are all risking your lives and putting it all on the line. You are all heroes. We are so grateful for your services and we are honored to be at your service. If your employers are only providing you with a cloth or surgical face mask, please share this video with them or tag them in the comments below, and we will contact them directly and see if we can get your team better protection. We hope you all have an amazing day. Stay safe, stay protected, work hard. If you or your family needs supplies, visit our website www.yoursupplyhub.com.